Hello and welcome. Thank you for spending a couple of minutes here with me today. I have Dr. Christine Russell, who is our MTSS coordinator here in Oxford, and she is here to help us figure out our data from our student and teacher screeners that we did recently on SAEBRS.
Okay, so just to bring us back to January, I do want to remind us that we talked about what are some of the biggest challenges that kids face in middle school and what are some skills they need. And as you reported those out, you can see they really loaded heavily in the social emotional range. We know, of course, kids, we want them to be academically successful, but to be there, what they need are things like understanding of how to deal appropriately with peer pressure, how to communicate well. They need to understand coping skills, self-control, all those pieces. So you guys identified in that PD that the social emotional side of kids functioning is super important to them being successful across the board in middle school. So the next step is we want to not only intervene on some of these pieces of social emotional health, but we want to really understand where our kids are at currently. So we did an assessment where teachers, our core teachers, reported out how kids are doing within their core classes, rating never, sometimes, often, and almost always to some important questions such as, do kids disrupt class? Are they showing worry in class and things like that? All things that relate back to these three big areas of social, academic, and emotional functioning.
And then our students also self-reported. They had 20 questions where they rated themselves in these same areas, social, academic, and emotional. So things like, I disrupt class, I am respectful, I participate in class, I feel sad, I feel nervous. And remember, they use the scale of never, sometimes, often, and almost always, just like the teachers did.
So getting both this teacher report and the student report gives us a good picture of how our students are doing and how they're functioning.
So in a perfect world, Christine, I would like to report out and especially tell everyone that 100% of our teachers and students report that our students are responding socially, behaviorally, and academically like as healthy as could be. However,
absolutely. That's really what we want to get to, as many kids as possible. But as we look at this data, we want to have in our minds what tells us that we have a healthy school overall, that across the board, we're really supporting kids to be as emotionally healthy as possible. What a good starting point is to have at least 80 to 85% of our students on track with their social emotional health. That tells us that we really are supporting kids. It also puts us at a point where we can intervene with those kids who are struggling. If we have 40% of our school not healthy, then it's hard to intervene.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
But if we're at these kind of levels, we do have folks within the school that we can, tap into to support about 15 to 20% of our students at tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. We also know a really important part of student health is making sure that our in-classroom supports are doing well with supporting kids socially, behaviorally, and academically. Things like our advisory lessons that we're doing and bringing those into our classrooms.
Okay, so we're going to get another link for you to go over our individual data, our school data, and dive a little bit deeper into that.
Excellent.
Stay tuned.